Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Balan Michael, staff of Turkey Department. Now, I want to say something invertebrate biology, and we decided talking about phylogenetics. Phylogenetics. Ladies and gentlemen, just stay cool, stay tight, and relax as we go along this particular branch of study in biology. Sorry. Yeah. Now, talking about the word phylogenetics, it's the scientific study of phylogeny. Phylogeny pertains to the evolutionary history of a taxonomic group of organisms. Thus, phylogenetics is mainly concerned with the relationship of an organism to other organisms according to similarities and differences. What does that mean? When we talk about the evolutionary similarities, it talks about the stages from time to time within different organisms or species, wherein their stage of development and growth, moving from one structure to the other, or moving from one profile to the other. For example, life itself starts from the stone age to the metal age. That was a development itself. Talking about species, especially the mammals, we talk about the wolves turning to nowadays domestic dogs. You also talk about a goat wherein the program of man coming from the ape, the baboon, and even moving towards the human being now we are talking about called man. So that is what phylogenetics is all about. And these are being done through methods, procedures, which leads up to results which are useful to what is being referred to as the classificational aspect of it, which is the taxonomy stage. So as we go further, we need to talk about the historical background of phylogeny, which is phylogenetics. The history of the evolution of a species or group, especially in reference to lines of descent and relationships among broad groups of organisms. Before I started, as you can recall, we talked about the nature of phylogeny. Now they are talking about the history of the evolution of species. How species have grown from time, from their ancestors to our present time, especially using different references to lines of descent and relationship among the group of organisms, which always leads to the referred phylogenic tree. Now, talking about evolution, evolution is a change in the characteristics of a species over several generations. Using the history through DNA or morphology with groups of species, which results of this strong system that has been applied to. Of course, yeah. This all leads to what we call the phylogeny tree. Now, if we can go further, we talk about the purpose of phylogenetics. The purpose of phylogenetics. One objective of this particular genetics is to reconstruct the evolutionary relationship between the species, connect them, in other words, and other objective is to estimate the time of divergence between two organisms since they last shared a common ancestor. What do we mean by this? Evolutionary relationship between species. I've already explained to you what is meant by evolution. And now they are saying we need to connect them. Now we talk about the divergence between two organisms since the last shared a common ancestor. Let me take you back and give you some example of common ancestor related adaptive traits. Now, for example, we talk about the dog. The dog species. The dog is a descent from the wolf. And how can we defend such a statement? Now, we talk about the functions, the different attributes you use to work on the phylogenetics. Now, we talked about the structure, meaning the morphological aspect of it. We talk about the cultural traits. We talk about the RNA, or we call it the DNA genetics. Yes. Now, another example is the zebra. The zebra, now we have, from the zebra, we have the donkey, and we also have the horses, which are related. These are all families. We came from the zebra. Now we talk about the donkey and heroes, which are all related. From the zebra, we now have donkeys, we now have horses. How can you refer to that? First of all, you check the morphology. In other words, the shape, the structural one, both of the particular species or organism. Secondly, the traits, how they behave. It's another way. What they eat. You know, a lot of activities being put together so that you come up with this, which are really useful. You know, it's very important for taxonomy, which involves in the identification, description, and classification of these different species. Next, let's talk about what is this particular genetics based on? Yes, what is phylogeny based on? Phylogeny is the study of relationship among different groups of organisms and their evolutionary development. Don't forget, every time I speak, I must relate a common word called evolutionary development or evolution. So let's get that in mind. Phylogeny attempts to trace the evolutionary history of all life on the planet. It is based on the phylogenetic hypothesis that all living organisms share. This leads to what we call the phylogenic tree. Yeah, it starts from life itself. About man, in fact. Let's talk about man. Let's talk about the Homo sapiens sapiens, the Homo state, the Homo ability state, the Homo erectus. How man goes from the ape to the particular human form which we are celebrating. The last one I will touch on is how phylogenetics is done. In phylogenetics, analysis, branching diagrams are made to represent evolutionary history or relationship between different species, organisms, or characteristics of an organism, which are the genes, the proteins, the organs, etc., that are developed from a common ancestor. The diagram is known as a phylogenetic tree. In the phylogenetic tree, it shows you how this species from the starting life go to now state. Now at this stage. What do I mean? Right from the start of when they are discovered by science or biology, by the great, one man, while talking of all this, we talk about the great Charles Darwin, who is a role player or a gateway to the biological aspect of life. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to stop here for this phase of phylogenetics, and please expect another phase, which is a phase 2 for me. Thank you very much for listening. I thank you very much for all your time, and I believe that in the phase 2, you get to know more about this particular study. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.